Why am I completely incapable of framing a video? Oh, that's okay. Do we go with that? We'll go with that. This is an entirely impromptu video that I wasn't gonna film today, but I just thought, sod it, why not? But I only have half an hour before I need to leave for work, so you're having to deal with natural light. The window is open because this office is so unbearably warm, and I've not washed my hair today, so that's where we are, and that's what we're gonna deal with. Welcome. I decided to go on a little trip down memory lane the other day, and I was looking at some of my old videos on my channel for no other reason than just curiosity, and mainly because I just couldn't really remember what I used to make videos about. Before I got into musical theatre and my videos turned very much behind the scenes, let's lift the curtain and show everyone what happens backstage during a musical, I was like, what could I have possibly made videos about? It's like that part of my brain that used to naturally come up with creative video ideas has just shriveled and died and is nowhere to be seen. So I thought I'd try and find some inspiration from past me, and I came across this video which is called 7 Facts About Me. It was made 10 years ago. It was published on the 24th of February 2013. So over 10 years ago now. I don't remember any of these facts, so I thought it would be interesting to re-watch this live with you now and find out what my facts were and whether they are still intact and relevant. Are they still facts about me, or are they now fiction about me? Let's find out.
1. I pretend I'm in a movie all the time. If I'm walking down the street listening to music, it's my soundtrack. If I'm making a cup of tea, it turns into a choreographed dance routine. I am just living one very long, drawn-out, epic movie in my head, and I'm sure that it's one that nobody wants to watch.
Yeah, I definitely don't do that anymore. My brain is so filled with 1,000 other thoughts that the idea of being a main character in a movie is probably the last of them. This is pre-Les Mis as well, so this is like 20-year-old me who had literally no responsibilities. She didn't have a job at this point. She was auditioning for Les Mis, but there was no guarantee of that. I had no bills to pay, I had no mortgage, I was living with my parents. I was a carefree soul. And even if my day-to-day now isn't filled with thoughts of like, oh god, all of this adulting stuff has to be done, it's filled with more important thoughts than pretending I'm the main character in a movie. Not that I judge anyone that does do that, each to their own, but this is just very much not factual anymore.
2. I'm sure I've said this in a video before, but I hold grudges. Big ones. I have what I'd call a Marmite mindset. I either love things with a passion or I hate them at an equal measure. It's very rare that you'll hear me saying, it was alright, I guess. But because of this, I'm very sparing with those emotions. For me to love someone in any kind of relationship, I have to know that person is worth it, because when I love someone, I will go out of my way to make sure that person is happy. But equally on the flip side, if someone proves themselves to be an unpleasant person, they will cross over to the dark side of my mind and will not make the return trip. Because of this, I've only ever truly hated 3 people, whom I won't name obviously because they're still out there living in the world and I'm not that mean.
I feel like there were several facts there. That didn't feel like just the one fact. That felt like at least 10 smushed into one. The holding grudges one, I mean, I feel like that's such a difficult one to talk about because I don't feel like I hold grudges anymore. Like, I don't actively wish bad things on people anymore. I definitely used to. It just takes up too much energy and too much time, and the idea of having someone live rent-free in my brain is just so boring and completely within my control. I can stop that. So I find so much easier these days just to be like, that was a crap thing that happened, or that person who like hurt me or wronged me or whatever, that wasn't fun, but do you know what? I wish them well. I just don't need to give them space or energy in my life anymore. But then the Marmite mindset, I definitely still have when it comes to works of fiction. It's very rare that I'll just be like, yeah, that was okay. I'll always either be really enthusiastic about something or I'll find a reason to really dislike it. But then again, my dislike is never active. I'll just put it down and just not go near it again, you know what I mean? If there's a show that I didn't like, I won't like write bad reviews for it and talk trash about it on the internet. I just won't recommend it to anyone. If a close friend asks me my opinion, I'll be like, it wasn't for me, but maybe you'll like it, you know what I mean? Oh, and then suddenly I started talking about love and relationships. Obviously there was something on my mind at this point. Was there? I wasn't with anyone at this point. Was I? No, I was. Ha, no. No, I definitely was. Yeah, no, I was in the midst of some sort of romantic turmoil. Ha, forgot about that. So of course I found a way to turn it to love and matters of the heart. But I feel like that was a very separate point, a very different fact about me. And that fact was, if I'm with someone, I will go to the ends of the earth to make sure that that person's happy. Which I definitely still think I do. I feel like that is just in my nature. If someone's like a good friend of mine, or I'm, you know, even like with Joel, my husband, and my family, I will be there for those people at the drop of a hat. However, I feel like over the years, I have definitely become better at saying no and knowing where my boundaries are. And, you know, depending on the situation, obviously, if it was like someone calling me up and saying, I need you here immediately, this emergency's happened, there would be no questions asked, I would be there. If someone called me up and was like, hey, I need a favour, or I've got this thing that's happening on this day, can you make it? And I can't make it, past me would have moved the heavens and the earth and massively inconvenienced not only my life, but all the people that I had prior commitments to make this thing happen for this one person. Whereas now I'm very comfortable just saying, I'm really sorry, I can't make it, but if it's for like a charity, I'll donate to the charity instead, or if it's like a public event, I'll tweet about it and I'll make sure I shout about it online and hopefully get you some more ticket sales, whatever. So I'm much more comfortable saying no, but finding a way to still kind of do a favour for those that I love.
3, I have a tooth missing, and no, I won't show you because that's really gross, but there's no story there. It just got wobbly twice and fell out twice, but now the tooth in front of the gap is slowly falling backwards into it, and it really, really hurts.
Okay, so this fact is now twice as true because I now have 2 teeth missing. The same tooth is still not there. I had no issues with it. The dentist said that it was fine just to have that tooth missing. You can't see it when I smile. And it was going to cost between £3,000 and £5,000 to have an implant put in. So I asked the dentist, I was like, do I have to have an implant? Can we just leave it? And the dentist was like, if you want to, it's not going to cause any problems, so yeah. But then I had a tooth up here where I had root canal, which was awful. And then they put a temporary filling in, and that filling not only like crumbled, it then cracked as I was eating, like the whole tooth cracked as I was eating something mid-show of Les Mis, and it was horrendous. It was a very bloody scenario, and I just ended up having to have the tooth removed. It's caused no issues whatsoever, and that gap has remained fully intact in the last 10 years. This one, like all the teeth started to sort of like move along, and the gap is now almost like completely closed. But up here, this one stayed very much a gap. But yes, now I have 2 teeth missing.
I am an extremely affectionate person, and I'm not using affectionate cryptically, and what I really mean is that I fancy everybody and want to inappropriately touch all of them, no matter how many people you ship me with. I just mean that my friends mean an awful lot to me, whether they're male or female, and I like to show them. Whether that's by linking arms with them when we walk down the street, kissing them on the cheek, or telling them how much they mean to me.
Yeah, I mean, that hasn't changed. I'm still very much an affectionate person. Probably less so than I think when I was 20, but yeah, I'm still a very affectionate person with like my friends and family and like close ones. I definitely like to show my friends through physical touch. I don't even think that's one of my love languages though. My love languages is words of affirmation. That's like the big one for me. Someone telling me they love me and someone telling me they're proud of me is definitely worth more to me than physical touch, but for some reason that's the love language that I dole out, as well as words of affirmation. But yeah, that's still very much a fact.
5. Everyone knows I collect books, as I have a library that's around 400 strong right now, but in addition to that, I also collect bookmarks. My favourites so far are these ones that look like little grass sprouts.
I don't even think we need to touch on this one for too long. Apparently it was 400 books, it's now well over 1,000. But I did hear this phrase the other day. Someone asked me if I was a bookworm or a book dragon. A bookworm is someone who reads a lot of books. A book dragon is someone who hoards a lot of books. And I think I'm coming to understand that I am the latter.
6. I couldn't do basic maths when I went to high school. But it's because when I was in primary school, I had a lot of time off because I was away doing West End shows, and I knew that that was where my future was. As a result of this, I missed quite important lessons teaching very basic math skills, namely multiplication. But here's one equation I can do. Take one child who isn't mathematically inclined anyway, plus a lot of time out of maths lessons, and that equals an 11-year-old going off to high school with hardly any understanding of multiplication and only a basic understanding of addition and subtraction. I studied at maths incredibly hard when I went to high school, and I managed to scrape through my GCSEs with a C, and you have no idea how happy with that result I was. I passed. However, in art, music, drama, and English, I was above average, so I balanced myself out.
I feel like maybe I was being a little bit harsh on the education system there, because thinking about it now, I don't think it was time out of school and you know, missing those lessons and not having that education taught to me. I also think that it was my lack of understanding. I struggle even now to get to grips with numbers. I find it so difficult, not even to like understand how everything works. It's like my brain just shuts off at the thought of numbers. I cannot keep the concentration for long enough to understand numbers. But when it comes to like words, I can't get enough. So yeah, I don't necessarily think that was my time out of school. I think it probably had a hand in it. It obviously would have helped to have all of those extra lessons that I missed because of being in shows for someone who wasn't mathematically inclined. But I don't necessarily think that was even half of the problem. But it is true that I went to high school without a basic understanding of basic maths.
7. I love it when people massage my hands or my feet. It's the most relaxing thing ever, and it's probably the only thing that can shut me up entirely and make me feel all floppy.
I love a massage. People touching my feet is my favourite thing in the world. I love a foot massage. Haven't had a hand massage in a very long time. But yeah, I really love any kind of spa treatment, any kind of massage. I'm all about that. So I feel like what we've learned is I'm not too far away from 20-year-old me. Most of it is still pretty true. I feel like the ones that aren't true, it doesn't mean that they weren't true then. It just means that I feel like I've got more clarity and more experience now to have a different viewpoint on those things, if that makes sense. And who knows, maybe the next video will be an updated 7 facts about me, if that's something you're interested in. But until then, I've got to go to work because it's 27 minutes past 4 and I need to leave the house at 4:30. So see you very soon.